there's only one God, and each of us is a language, so to speak, in order to arrive at God.
Qualcuno è Sikh, qualcuno musulmano, qualcuno
Sikh, Muslim,
Hindi, qualcuno cristiano,
Hindu,
ma sono
Christian.
diversi cammini.
There are different paths.
Understood?
Pope Francis is setting the stage for an interfaith unity of religions that will lay the groundwork for a universal religion and a one-world government in which all people and all religions will worship together as one.
Pope Francis is headed to Asia in one of the longest foreign trips any head of the Catholic Church has ever embarked on.
A 12-day trip that started today with Indonesia.
During the 12-day trip, the Pope will visit 4 island nations: Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, Timor-Leste, and Singapore. Of these 4 nations, only one is predominantly Catholic.
So on the face of it, his choice of tour stops is unusual. Which brings us to the question, what is he trying to achieve in these islands?
Pope Francis on Friday wrapped up a 3-day visit to Singapore, a country with large pockets of at least 5 different faiths, everything from Islam to Buddhism to ancestor worship to Christianity. And he says all religions are a path to God. That is unheard of for a pope to say that. But wait, there's more.
The Antichrist, also known as the Man of Sin, is going to lead the world, including an interfaith confederation of religions, uniting them to enforce the mark of the beast.
Now, his first stop is Jakarta in Indonesia, the largest Muslim country in the world, where we expect he'll speak about dialogue between faiths and tolerance. He's also going to East Timor, a tiny country which is more than 97% Catholic, to show his support for those Catholic communities far from Rome. And since Southeast Asia is particularly vulnerable to climate change and rising sea levels, the Pope, who's a strong advocate for the environment, is very likely to address those issues as well.
The pontiff will engage in interfaith dialogues with other religious leaders as Catholicism's popularity rises in Asia.
The leader of the Catholic Church meeting the president of the most populated Muslim nation in the world. Indonesia prides itself on practicing moderate Islam alongside a Christian minority.
I think there's many religions, but I don't necessarily believe they all teach the same characteristics. I think this is bigger than the Project 2025 agenda that people have been talking about, because this is actually what we talked about at the end of Starfall. This is that if you scroll right to the end, the last minute and a half or so, I say, look, all the religions, when you notice all these religions coming together, you better be on your toes. Something big is happening.
Through the sudden disasters brought by invisible forces, bringing fear for safety and a desire for help, religious leaders, in conjunction with the seemingly new visitors, declare a need to put away religious differences and come together to worship as one people to bring an end to the disasters and a beginning to peace.
Asia is one of the few places in the world where the Catholic Church is growing, be it through baptisms or religious vocations. Even though Catholics remain a minority, they are promoting dialogue with other religions, running schools, and charitable works. The Pope has previously visited a number of Asian countries, and he's been increasing his engagements with the region. So now, a tour to the Asian island nations makes complete sense for the Pope. Plus, this extends his outreach to what he calls the peripheries, meaning communities who are either marginalized or far away. And this is the second reason why the Pope has selectively chosen locations for his tour, including interreligious dialogue and protection of the environment. This is the world's most populous Muslim majority country. In a population of about 283 million, 87% of the people are Muslim. But Indonesia has a decent Christian population as well, of about 3%. Here, the Pope is holding talks with religious leaders at the Istiqlal Mosque, the largest in Southeast Asia. He will sign an interfaith declaration, hold mass for 70,000 people, and meet with outgoing President Joko Widodo.
Indonesia and the Vatican have a similar commitment to cultivate peace and brotherhood as well as ensure prosperity for the people.
Pope Francis visited the Istiklal Mosque, where he was warmly welcomed by Nasiruddin Umar, the Grand Imam. The Imam led the Pope through the Tunnel of Friendship, a wide underground walkway that connects the mosque to the Catholic cathedral across the busy street.
During a recent visit to Singapore, the Pope expressed that all religions are paths to reach God, basically affirming all religions. As the Pope embraces all religions, will he use his influence to become the spokesman for all religions, or to be the perceived spiritual leader of all religions?
Every religion is a way to arrive at God. Sort of a comparison, an example would be they're sort of like different languages in order to arrive at God. And if God is God for all, then we're all sons and daughters of God.
Ma il mio Dio è più importante del tuo.
But my God is more important than your God.
È vero quello?
Is that true?
C'è un solo Dio lì. E noi sono idiomi, cammino, lingue per arrivare a Dio.
There's only one God, and each of us is a language, so to speak, in order to arrive at God.
Wow, that seems like it's appealing not only to right and left, but to all faiths. And which is exactly what you would expect if the prophecies are true.
Well, in Revelation 13 passage, the Bible says that all the world marveled and followed the beast's power.
Yeah.
And here it is not just limited to Christians, not just limited to Catholics, but he says even Muslims and other religions. Well, it's all paths that lead ultimately towards God, towards heaven.
So why is the pontiff on this tour? There are two reasons. First, the significant shift within the Catholic Church. We're talking about the tilt to Asia. The Church is no longer a Western institution. Churches in Africa, Latin America, and especially Asia have a growing influence. Next on the tour will be Timor-Leste, Asia's newest nation, where 97% of the population identifies as Catholic. And finally, Pope Francis will wrap up his trip in Singapore, the economic powerhouse, known for its blend of ethnicities and religions. So it's quite the mix. And the Catholic Church can only hope that the Pope's grueling tour bears fruit.
Bible prophecy predicted that there would be a great apostasy that would take place just before the second coming of Christ.
And so this is it. This is happening right now. He's teaching children this.
This is ecumenicism, coexist. The Pope's been trying to do this all the time, making commercials about we all have the same God, it's love. And so I guess we're going to see Anton LaVey and Aleister Crowley, they had their God, right? It's all just another
religion.
language to the true God. You can be a satanic, sadistic dude, but as long as you're serving something that's your God, then I guess it leads to the true God.
Right.
It's insanity. It's like saying, there's any way you go. Brad, come to my house. Which way? Just choose a way, man. Anyway, you'll get here eventually. Sometimes it's just many different ways to my house. Like, how do we just think that there's all these laws of physics and science and nature and all these things, but there's not just one way to God, because there is only one God. And I don't know, it's just, I don't understand where people can just believe that, well, it's not fair to say that my God's the true God and your God isn't. Well, if it's true.
Pope Francis is setting the stage for an interfaith unity of religions that will lay the groundwork for a universal religion and a one world government in which all people and all religions will worship together as one.
You're seeing a massive wave of Christianity coming, and you're also seeing a massive wave of Satanism. And it seems like we're approaching the final division.
The one thing that I really felt strongly a couple of years ago was really strongly, I felt it overwhelmingly, like from outside me, was that there's some form of religious revival coming. I felt that really strongly. And I'm like an extremely secular person. Christianity seems to be growing in power even as the church is collapsing into absurdity. Church leaders, not all, but a lot of them are totally corrupt. I don't know what's going on with the Pope. I'm not Catholic, so I'm not gonna comment on that, but like, whoa, doesn't look like Christianity to me.
Pope Francis, aboard the papal plane returning from Asia on September 13th, spoke about the choice Catholic voters face between candidates who support abortion or restricting immigration, urging them to choose the lesser evil based on their conscience, while highlighting that both positions go against the value of life.
Pope Francis weighed in on the U.S. election with a frank assessment of both candidates.
They are both against life. The one who throws away the migrants, as well as the one who kills children. Who is the lesser of two evils? That lady or that gentleman? I don't know.
About 52 million Catholics live in the U.S.
Listen to this right here. Did you know that this came out September 10th, 2024? How long ago? How many weeks ago was September 10th? It was only not even a week. Did you know that there are a lot of people, there are a lot of celebrities that are becoming Roman Catholic? Did you know that? It says behind the Catholics' right celebrity conversion industrial complex. From Russell Brand to J.D. Vance, who got converted to Catholicism recently, and Candace Owens, what happens when the Catholic Church chases influencers and their legions of followers? Notice this. What happens when the Catholic Church chases influencers? Influencers are people on social media that got a lot of followers, and the legions of their followers down the rabbit hole of the right. These people have just been converted to Catholicism. These people have millions of followers and adherents. Do you know how easy it is for the Catholic Church now? If for those who are Candace Owens fans, therefore she became a Catholic, I'm gonna become a Catholic too. If J.D. Vance become a Catholic, then either I'm gonna become a Catholic or I have a friendly relation to Catholicism.
The Vatican is interested in inviting a bunch of comedians to meet with the Pope. I get an email from my Jesuit friend, Father Jim Martin, who is helping organize a group from the U.S. to attend a papal audience with artists from the world of comedy. And America sent a stat conclave. It was me, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Mike Birbiglia, Jim Gaffigan, Tig Notaro, Whoopi Golberg, David Sedaris, Chris Rock, Rami Youssef, Jimmy Fallon, and Conan O'Brien.
All the comedians and everyone in the room, it must have been 200 people lined up.
Aston really loving and made me happy.
Because I did the audiobook for his memoir, Life.
Pope Francis has shocked a lot of Catholics right now because in the new documentary, Francesco, he goes public with his support for same-sex civil unions.
A meeting of the minds at the G7 summit.
Rumi plays Jesus Christ in The Chosen, a multi-season TV series directed by Jenkins. When it was their turn to greet the Pope, Rumi asked Pope Francis to bless some rosaries.
Good to meet you. It's not only about climate change, but about helping you amplify every year because of pollution. 7 billion. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
As a follow-up, the actor and politician gave Pope Francis a book called California, the Golden Land of Promise. When giving the Pope the book, he said he hopes they can solve this problem once and for all.
Puede representar una oportunidad real para la conversión, la transformación, para repensar nuestra forma de vida y nuestros sistemas económicos y sociales, que están ampliando las distancias entre pobres y ricos, a raíz de una injusta repartición de los recursos. Pero también puede ser una posibilidad para una retirada defensiva, con características individualistas y elitistas.
So what probably is going to happen is there is going to be a triggering event. There's going to be something that will happen that will be a catalyst that will cause great fear among world leaders, whether it's a war, natural disaster, economic meltdown, or all of the above, another pandemic. The Bible says there'll be earthquakes and plagues. And people from fear are ready to embrace totalitarianism.
Trying to hurt people for the sake of hurting people with climate change or manufactured famines, which are clearly that's going on, and pharma stuff. It's all evil, right? It's very obvious, and everyone watching this, I think, knows. Of course, everyone knows what I'm talking about.
All these things that we're seeing with the gender wars, with the race wars, with the division, with the right and left, with the Easter Sunday is now Trans Visibility Day. The Pope is saying that gay marriage is great. The Pope is not the man to change the Bible or the Word of God.
You're serving the other team. I'm sorry, you are.
Ready or not, everything is coming together according to Bible prophecy.
Basically, there's one God and don't have any other gods.
And to your point, Acts 4:12, nor is there salvation in any other, for there is no other a name under heaven given among men, which by we must be saved. That's pretty clear.
I am the way, the truth, the life, not a way, not one of many ways, but the way.
That's
Jesus Christ said himself. He's the door to God.
You must be reading my notes. That's John 14:6. That's the next one I had.
There we go. That's a great one.
And Matthew 28:19, go ye therefore, teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. So I think it's very interesting that, it says there is a specific God, which is God, the creator God that created us. If you look at the characteristics of these other gods in other religions, even sometimes in what some consider Christianity, I'm going to name Catholicism, and a couple others I won't name, is very dangerous because they don't have the same characteristics.
The Bible predicted that the whole world would follow the Antichrist beast in the end time, and it is happening. We are living in the last days, friends.
You're going to say that, God is punishing us, and this is not going to happen overnight because it's going to take a while for, a small time of trouble and these things to unfold and the truth to be proclaimed.
Jesus wants you to be informed and prepared for final events.